We are approaching the golden years of Indonesia. Why is Ethereum valuable? I share the same view with I can invest in Bitcoin and it will outperform.
What is power to you?
I make the most money when
Associations in Indonesia are also scams.
I love memes because
Do you think the Indonesian government is doing a good job in regulating crypto?
fundamentals doesn't matter in crypto. But it all starts back again.
Hey fam, the following is a conversation with Anthony Tjiptodihardjo. Anthony is a prolific investor with a contrarian view on the crypto markets and stock markets, being a licensed broker and the vice president of ICCA Consumer Protection for Indonesia. In this conversation, we go into a number of different topics, including speculation and the world of crypto today. Up next, my conversation with Anthony Tjiptodihardjo. I find that investors who actually invest generally don't like to be in front of the camera.
I don't.
Is that a common thing across investors or just yourself?
So it depends. I have a couple of investor heroes that I look up to in the global markets, like Stanley Druckenmiller, Bill Ackman. Those people are two very different individuals, where Bill Ackman likes to expose his positions, while Stanley Druckenmiller only wants to expose his positions if he gets caught on CNBC and all that stuff. But as an investor, I am afraid that people's gonna follow me blindly and hold my word against against me for longer periods of time. For example, if I say I'm all on Solana in 2023, they expect me to keep holding my position until I get on camera and say I'm cashing out. That does not happen. As macroeconomic conditions evolve and specific investment environments evolve, I will change my bias, and I do so very fluidly, in the sense that I will not update you guys. I don't have the need to feel like I need to update you guys. If you guys follow me, I don't expect you to make money or lose money. I'm just stating what I'm doing. That's why I'm reluctant to be on camera, because I'm more afraid of netizen than anything else. Because let's say someone took my advice the wrong way, they lose money. And I have had cases where people are like, you said this was good. Well, it was good for that time. It's not good now. And they lost money. And I said, I didn't tell you to follow me.
Right.
I hate being in that position.
Do you think there's an advantage to sharing your positions?
Yes. If I am big enough to amass followings to buy into my position. That's why one of the people that I sometimes dislike is like Chamath. Chamath Palihapitiya is someone I respect, but in 2021 to 2022, he did 4 SPACs.
Yeah.
Where all his specs are down like 80 to 90%, but he got people to buy in the spec because he has the following. Ultimately, he made money from his followers. I don't want to be in that position or be able to do that. If I were to expose my position, I would say, this is what I have right now. I don't have any responsibility to update my positions if I do cash out. But I'm just stating that I'm bullish on A, B, and C.
So is that how you treat your investor group that you have with David Noah?
Yes, I'm just sharing them how I am approaching this market as of now, with current price action, with current macroeconomic conditions. This is what I'm doing. I invite people to challenge my views because I don't like to be surrounded by yes men. It's a very detrimental echo chamber that I don't want to be a part of. I want to teach people to be able to have a different perspective or different approach of looking at the market. I appreciate that a lot more than just me sharing like, hey, I'm bullish on this, come by. It's it's not how I want to run things.
Many people have like a different as you say, like edge or a
Mhm.
different perspective of the way that they see the market. I've previously like heard from you that you like to start off with a macroeconomic approach. The macroeconomic, the current season of macroeconomy that we're in right now is some, at least from the outside view or very shallow view, is a very could be a very scary time. Like there's like two wars going on, there's presidential debates going on. How do you see that, like from your lens, like how do you see that as an investor, and how are you using this like macro nature to your advantage?
So aside from wars, wars is actually bullish in financial perspective because if you start spending more on defense budgets, it will ultimately leak into other industries, more workforce, more spending, even though it's on defense. But wars are generally not a bad thing after the first few months of the shock, like Russia Ukraine. We got a sharp drop, and then market starts to V reverse. But the current macroeconomic condition that I am more concerned of is how Powell is now being a bit too hawkish in his efforts to get inflation to the 2% target, which I think is unrealistic. Why? It does not need, we don't need inflation to go back to 2%. I actually agree with ini benar-benar, I'm not a pro-Republican or pro-Democrat, but I'm just gonna put out a statement that I share the same view with Trump, where he said how you beat inflation is not generally by squeezing the market with high interest rate. You can actually grow out of inflation with growth. So the more you restrain the economic condition with high rates right now, we are seeing multiple quarters of decreasing US GDP. I really think if we start cutting rates too late, the economic slowdown is going to be more damaging and more detrimental to Jerome Powell's legacy than what it should be if he starts cutting rates this year at least once.
So, but do you think that would change as the new cycle of presidents comes in?
I am expecting that Powell still cut this year. That's what he needs to do, but he doesn't want to voice it out because he wants to avoid people pricing in that he's gonna cut. He's So yesterday 8:30 after we did boxing, I actually watched Jerome Powell speak at the ECB
Mm.
conference where he said he's always stating that he's hawkish. His statements are hawkish. He always wants to get to the 2% inflation target. I don't believe it. I have a very contrarian view. I don't know about a lot of people, but I have contrarian view on how he would approach rate cuts, which is I still think we at least get one this year, and the dot plot even says so. We are expecting 7 rate cuts until the end of 2025. If he follows the dot plot, it's going to get better. He cannot use the economy as an indicator. If the economy is strong, he can afford to keep the rates high because the damage does not happen immediately. It's a very lagging indicator, at least for 6 to 9 months. So when he does cut rates, the economy will not do a V recovery. It's still gonna go down, and I think in current economic condition, it's more beneficial if you put your bullish hat on compared to your bearish hat because heading into elections, we see how much the market is bullish on Trump because he's gonna fix the economy. He's also proposing rate cuts. No, sorry, not rate cut, tax cuts on companies so they can push productivity, hire more people, and leads to growth. And I see how he's approaching the market. And I try not to fight against the current because I know that a big wave of money is coming. Even though now it looks super bearish, I'm still bullish.
Yeah, so the crypto markets have been like trading sideways for almost a couple of months now,
Hmm.
and Trump is also quite pro crypto. At least his current stance is pro crypto.
Hmm.
Um, what's your opinion of how the markets will move over the next few months? Do you think it will go down or go up?
So since February, end of February, I actually told my group, you guys should take a break if you don't want to learn trading. Trading, in my definition, and investing is the same, but people associate trading with shorter term movements to catch 5 to 10% move, uh, as opposed to like riding a massive, gigantic gigabull candles. I keep saying until Q3 this year, it's gonna be a trader's environment. You're better off trying to buy Bitcoin if it does break 73,000 and you can ride the wave up to, I don't know. I'm not in the business of trying to predict market tops or market bottoms. That is one of the many fallacies I used to have in the first 2, 3 years. I want to catch the bottom and the top. It never works out for me. So you just avoid this chop between 59,000 and 73,000. If you're not a good trader, just stay away from the market. You will not lose money. You will not um, expose yourself to potentially losing trades, which I think is good if you just want to be a beginner investor. It's doable. So you just get in to the market when the conditions are favorable for your type. And for most people, it's during the gigantic green candles like we see in, I think, November to end of
Yeah,
February.
yeah.
It's quite easy to make money. It's very difficult for you to lose money unless you're shorting every every market high. But I mean, for now, if you want to learn trading, it's one of the best environment because ultimately, if you do get stuck with positions, you can ride it out. But if you can survive or even make money during the last 4 or 5 months, you're gonna be someone who is able to extract value from the market regardless of any condition. And that's what I'm in the business of. I'm trying to extract as much money from the market wherever the opportunities presents itself.
So if I was a new trader and
Mhm.
wanting to learn how to trade, like
Mhm.
what would you recommend me do during this time?
Stay out.
Stay out.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I always recommend trying to learn trading from the easiest environment and then gradually expose yourself to more difficult environments. This currently is a 7 out of 10 difficulty level, in my opinion. You try to find easier environments, maybe in US stock market. I think right now it's still quite easy. We do see resistance in S&P 500 in the 550, 5500 region. But once we do get a correction around 5300 to 5350, I think you can get positioned there into select stocks that I am not in the business of picking individual stocks. I like picking indexes better, but those are the environments that you might want to get long. For crypto, you better start positioning, I think, either below 60,000 to 52,000 region right now, because I think that's the most EV plus expected value is plus if you get into those positions in that area, not between the chop regions now, because you might get chopped up and down if you don't know how to trade.
If you're recommending people to get into the slightly above 52 range,
Mhm.
you expect it to go down another few percent points.
So it is not out of the expectation or the preparation that I am prepared for the scenario that I'm prepared for. I do expect um, S&P to correct further, And as we see today, as of this recording, yeah. So when I give market updates like today, I want to keep things very, very clear that we are recording on July 3rd and at 1 p.m. S&P shows strength, goes back up to 5500, but crypto, as we see this morning, is down about 5%.
Yes.
So crypto is showing relative weakness to other to other markets, even gold, uh, U.S. stocks. That's not a good sign. What if S&P do go down 200 basis points? Can the crypto market decorrelate and show strength? I don't think so. So I'm just preparing myself for that scenario. If BTC is at 60,000 now, if S&P corrects 200 basis points, more or less 5%, we might see crypto correcting way more. So that's what I'm preparing myself for. As of this recording, ini mungkin udah basi kalau misalkan we move on to like next week or next 2 weeks or next
It might
month.
change.
Yeah, it might change.
It might change.
Yeah.
I mean, Indonesia has a large amount of traders, especially in the crypto market. Much more than I think the stock market here in Indonesia. And it's also quite similar to Vietnam and Korea. And we could say like a lot of hype has come in to trading and in crypto as of recent, like last 6 months, not only because of the bull cycle, but because of influencers or different types of people that are trying to talk about the market. You say that you have a more reserved approach to sharing information, but you do have like a trading group, something where you share updates.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, you're also part of an association which tries to sort of improve like the regulation behind consumerism. How do you think like the current climate is for how influencers are trying to impact the way that trading happens, and how does that align, or how does that go against the way that you and your association are trying to impact like regulation and things in Indonesia?
Okay. So to start, maybe let me tackle your question with a few points. Let me first start with introducing you to ICCA. So I'm part of Indonesian Crypto Consumer Association. It's an association we built based on protecting consumers, because in 2021 there is a lot of scam tokens which put a lot of people into bankruptcy, and there's also a lot of misconceptions about robo trading, binomo, and all those stuff. But we actually do not want many consumers to get burned by crypto. Burned by definition is like you going bankrupt because you invest in crypto tokens that does not have a legit value. I say this with a chunk of salt, a big grain of salt. Why? Currently, we are in a meme-centric meta where there's not a lot of utility associated with those tokens, but Indonesian rug pull tokens are one of a kind. Not one of a kind, actually. They just promise a fixed return, and once enough people put their money into it, they just pull the funds out. Hence why the definition of rug pulling. So why do I want to avoid people getting into those kinds of tokens? I believe that crypto is a good vehicle for long-term investment. The more people get burned by trying to make a lot of money in very short periods of time, they might label crypto in general as a scam, which is, based on your definition, is not entirely correct. Even though there's a lot of scams in the market, but you can actually find value in some tokens, like, for example, Ethereum. why is Ethereum valuable? Because you can build applications on top of money itself. You can actually build products that impact lives. For example, so one of my favorite example is there's an insurance in a tropical third world country. I forgot where. I think it's Brazil. So they work with an oracle. So they feed real world data into the smart contract where farmers can take insurance for rain. So if you grow crops and it rains 4 days in a row, your crops might not be good, right? Banjir, hancur, done. You are holding on to a loss. But this project can actually be some sort of a P2P insurance company where, okay, I'm going to take a bet that it's not going to rain for the next 3 months, no 4 days of rain in a row. But people is going to keep feeding information essentially as a validator, where if farmers do get washed up by rain, they can take out how much insurance they put in the smart contract to protect themselves against the risk of rain. That's one of the many examples where blockchain, I think, can be very beneficial for a lot of people and industries. But there's also the case with like Bonk, WIF, and all those tokens that have basically close to zero utility. Okay, not Bonk. Bonk has actually a trading bot in Telegram where you can actually buy Solana tokens just by texting in Telegram. But most of the tokens in crypto, 99% doesn't have value. How do you navigate yourself around those tokens is very important to build the mindset that, hey, actually, I can invest in Bitcoin and it will outperform some markets, whether it's saham, saham Indo, US stocks, gold, anything, you name it. But you just have to know when and where to invest as opposed to just blindly listening to your favorite influencers because they might not have your best interest at heart. You have to always ask, is this guy getting paid to shield his tokens? So, one of the more interesting tweets that I saw this morning is that I have yet to check the validity of my source, but crypto accounts like Capo, Crypto Capo, uh, Crypto Banter gets around 400,000 US dollar monthly payments to talk about crypto and the narrative that is fed by exchanges, bigger players, hedge funds and stuff. Untuk gua cek market participants. So by knowing that, I'm like, okay, now we know that even influencers are not having your best interest at heart, even though they're not shilling a specific token, but by sharing their perspective on the market that is skewed to help hedge funds, exchanges, and other big players that is gonna take advantage of their following. It's very, very, very concerning to me. So, so my one tip for anyone who views this: do not trust anyone 100%, including me. I am always in the mindset of teaching people to get to where you have your own conviction. You can debate your conviction with me if you're in my group. We can try to establish a more solid foundation of building your own opinion as opposed to listening to other people. Yes, you can listen to some people that you think is respectable, is so rich that they cannot be bought, but always try to build your own conviction before listening to other people. That's the only way you can actually thrive in trading and investing in the market.
That's actually very true on
Mhm.
the influences. I was talking to my friend who works for Avo. He knows a lot about like the influencer industry because he also has like a newsletter and he
Sorry, what's Avo?
Avo is a decentralized derivative platform.
Oh, it's the exchange. No, the token AEVO.
EVO,
Okay,
yes,
yeah.
yes. Anyway, it's like his that's his day job, and then he also has like
Mm,
content, like he has a newsletter on the side.
mm,
But he was telling me that um, Momentum Six,
mm,
like the venture capital Momentum Six, they invest their own funds and stuff like that.
mm,
Big in crypto. Um, they basically scout out influencers
mm,
from when they're small
mm.
and form them to help push the same narrative that they're investing in.
Yeah.
And so guys like Virtual Bacon, if you
Mm.
know Virtual Bacon,
No, I
okay,
actually don't.
actually Virtual Bacon is quite he's a very good he talks about a lot of fundamentals behind the tokens,
Mm.
but he's backed by Momentum 6.
Okay.
Yeah. So actually like a lot of these funds
Mm,
a lot of these funds own a lot of these anonymous Instagram Twitter accounts
mm.
uh to shield the tokens.
Okay. So
It's not uncommon.
I have a question for you. So do you happen to know what the maybe top three, top five momentum that they're trying to push in this cycle?
In terms of like
AI gaming, mm, RWA,
yeah, I would think like RWA AI is like very
top
very
of
big
mind, yeah.
top of mind that they're pushing.
Mm.
Um, ones like Manta. Manta was a very big one that they pushed.
Okay, I have a crypto influencer friend that's not from Indonesia. He got paid in Manta. I don't know if you know that those kind of projects have allocations. You can check it out. Viewers, you can check it out on mesari.io. They have, you can see how they allocate their funds in a pie chart. Sometimes their marketing fund is actually just giving tokens into influencers to shield their tokens up to a certain price. That's one of the things that I really wish everyone who watched this knows, that people will get paid in tokens. And I would make a very controversial statement in this video. Fundamentals doesn't matter in crypto. In bull markets, it doesn't matter. But fundamentals will matter in the bear market, because ultimately let me break down fundamentals a little bit further, and then we can dive into each topic. Fundamentals can be broken down into active users, monthly, daily,
Yeah.
weekly, you name it. Secondly, how much developers or good quality developers are building on top of it. Thirdly, the community itself. How are people talking about it? It's not enough that they have a lot of users. If they all hate the platform, but they have nowhere else to go, it's not a good publicity. So those are the top three fundamentals. Not necessarily tokenomics is also important, but not as much as you think. Let me explain why. A lot of people doesn't realize that Solana already hit their all-time high this cycle. Not in terms of price, in terms of market cap. People don't check out market cap as much as they check out the price, because they don't realize that the tokens are inflationary in nature. I think Solana sits at around 6%, but a couple of years back, it's around 12% inflation per year. Solana actually has broken their all-time high and is one of the strongest tokens that you can hold now. I personally have cashed out more than 80% once they've broken out of the all-time high and got back in. So in my technical analysis strategy, I hate when market tembus all-time high and then they get back in, because I see that as a potential consolidation lower. I would like to get back in below 118. Not financial advice. By the way, I am not sharing financial advice here. I'm just sharing what I'm trying to do. So do not DM me telling me that you lost money because you follow Dan's podcast, please. I will not even give you guys a second look. I will block you immediately. But that said, what's important in the bull market is not fundamentals, it's eyeballs, being attention. How much people are talking about it matters way more than fundamentals. The reason why I'm out of Solana is also when Ansem, the LeBron of Solana, starts bringing in Iggy Azalea and all those influencers and keep rugging tokens left and right. They only have one interest in mind. They just want to take money out of the market. Even though it might onboard a lot of people, but I am off the camp that they are not going to onboard people the right way. If you burn people in crypto, they will likely to stay out of it for a longer period of time. That's where I stand.
So do you like meme tokens then?
I do.
You do like meme tokens.
I do. Because, okay, this is also, I will actually be a very contrarian in this podcast, not because of me trying to be different. I am just being contrarian because that's how I approach investing. I rarely make money when a lot of people agree with me. I make the most money when nobody talks about it until they start sharing the same opinion. And then I am well positioned into it. And once everybody starts talking about it, I'm going to cash out. So, one of my current contrarian opinion is that I love memes because it doesn't do anything. If a token is promising A, B, C, D, E, like Manta, if you don't deliver on those promises, people are starting to lose faith in the project. But if a project does not have any promises, they don't have anything to keep. They don't have any KPI. People just buy in for the community, for the fun, like with Bonk Pepe. They don't have shit to do.
Right.
Bonk is actually one of the more impressive ones and one of my bigger chunks of meme basket that I own. Because why? They start with nothing. They start with giving away tokens. They don't care about the price. They don't care about anything. They start building without making any promises. And then they're like, oh, it started off as a meme, but now they have a bot, Bonk bot in Telegram. So that is one of the few reasons why I think I'm gonna keep 10 to 20% of my crypto portfolio this cycle in memes.
That's a big portion.
That's a big portion. But it's the kind of money that I can afford to lose. But if I do hit the jackpot, it's gonna be a funny story I will tell investors later on.
Right.
And I can actually show you guys. I actually shilled Bong the first time at 0.0003, which 10x from there to current price, which is so funny. And people kept saying, well, I shilled Bong. They're like, really? You're buying into all this meme stuff? This is before memes got big. This is like the OG meme.
So what's your opinion on, because you talked about Iggy Azalea quite a lot. Like what is your opinion on like Mother and Daddy?
If you lose money on those tokens, you deserve to lose money. Like, why do you think they're in crypto in the first place? They're not building any new tech or new ways blockchain can be implemented to the world. They just want to take your money and leave. Daddy, as you know, Andrew Tate, a very controversial figure in everywhere in the world. I do not really like the guy because he's in the camp of influencers that will spout controversial statements one after another to gain followers, to rat pill people. Like, you don't have to have a controversial opinion to get followers, but that's the fastest way to get fame. I do not agree with bad publicity equals any publicity is good publicity. Bad publicity is not good, at least for the long term. Compare him to someone like a personality outside of crypto. Ryan Reynolds is an influencer, even though he's an actor. He's also an influencer that I look up to. He has maximum effort. That's his marketing company. He works on building very interactive advertisements that people actually are looking to watch, which is mind-boggling to me until today. You can make advertisements into products that actually sell themselves. I actually follow Maximum Effort and look if they have posted anything new because it's entertaining to watch his ads.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's not as pushy. The way he sells is very unserious, but people get the awareness and gets the product immediately. What he did to Wrexham United, amazing. He makes a series about football in Canada and states where people don't care as much about soccer.
Yeah.
He multiplied Wrexham more than 10x, I think. That is the correct way to approach marketing. He does not need to take any controversial uh, statements or positions into an otherwise normal topic. He does not have scam-ish takes on the market as of now because I'm so afraid to follow influencers that I adore and find out later that, oh my God, he's actually one of them too. I hope not. But Andrew Tate is one of those people that if you take off your view on him and stop putting him on a pedestal, you know that he's a glorified gigolo. Not gigolo, okay, sorry. Uh, apa sih? Germo. I
Yeah.
don't know what Germo is. A pimp. A pimp.
Yes.
He's a glorified pimp in the 21st century because he has a farm of OF girls. And any feel free to bleep all this part out, but I'm just gonna say it. The fact that he has a farm of OF girls as his main revenue generator and he's proud about it. Do you really want to look up to someone like that? There is a lot of ways to skin a cat to make money in this world without having to turn into illegal marketing or influencer scamming. I look up to people who play clean and those people can still make success. For example, I'm a big fan of CL207.
Right.
He's an influencer who, from what I know, following his Twitter account, makes money entirely by trading. He's one of the best, if not the best. Hedgehog is also one of the best. I am still trying to get acquainted with the guy. He lives in Singapore. I asked about him once from my friend. We have yet to meet, but he takes 19 trades a year and he nets around, I think, 5 to 10 million US.
Wow.
I'm like, wow. You take so little trades, but you can make jackpots in every trade. That means you know your strength very well. You don't need to scam other people to follow your calls by paying into groups and stuff. That is very hypocritical of me, actually, to say because I have a trading group, but I do it for free. I do it for free, honestly. I am not looking to make money
Yeah.
off people who wants to follow what I do. I actually just want to create a lot more people who can stand on their own conviction, who actually I encourage to go against me. I have some traders, some meaning like five, I respect in my group because I teach them my ways and they have created their own edge and sometimes debate against me on how I view the market. And I sometimes actually reduce or increase my position based on the discussion we have. I like how they are able to. I have like okay, gua ngomong nama nih nggak apa-apa. I'll share his username. His name is Daisun. He's actually one of the contrarian from my view, who actually likes to oppose my positions. If he actually takes a big chunk of his portfolio and go against me, I would actually consider reducing my portfolio in my direction if I'm opposing him. But if we actually agree on something, I will increase because he has become someone who I respect enough in the markets to fight me, intellectually fight me.
What I want to touch on is a couple of things coming back to
Hmm.
sort of like this idea behind like you giving free value,
Hmm.
and on the topic of like associations,
Hmm.
because generally like I find from a builder's perspective,
Hmm.
associations in Indonesia are also scams,
Yeah.
right? And um, they are a link to power essentially, where they connect you with politics. They allow you to push governance.
Hmm.
I guess like my question is like, do you find that to be true? And if not, what's
Hmm.
your take?
Okay, so before I answer your question, allow me to dive deeper into. Can you give me like an example of associations behavior that's scamming?
Associations that ask you to pay for membership to
Oh,
participate as uh, um, to be able to represent you.
okay. I am not as versed in politics or associations as much as the next guy. I'm actually just doing this for CSR basically, and I really want to help Indonesia to not restrict cryptocurrency as an industry because there's a lot of opportunity for the government to actually make money from crypto if you know how to tax them well, not taxing them to the point where it's counterproductive to growth. And to add to your point, our association does not charge people at all. Like we actually do work for free, but we do charge industry players if they want to be represented by us. So, for example, we make events sometimes to educate. Some companies want to sponsor and put their name,
Mm.
for example, Peluang, Toko Crypto, you name it. Any industry player in Indonesia um, wants their name to be associated with our association, but we also really pick our partners. But sometimes the marketing side of our association does not know crypto that well. But I'm quite proud to say that we have not worked with any scammers. Our association, I would say, have not had the ability or the power to scam people, but we have the ability to hunt scammers. So, how it works with ICCA, you can actually join our group or email us in ic-ca.org if you got scammed by any Indonesians. You can create a report, we can build a case for you, and we do not charge anything for the victims of the scam. What we do is actually we report to OJK or Bapapti, depending on who is handling the case, depending on the pasal that we can
Mm.
hit them with. How do we fund ourselves? Honestly, most people that joins our association are financially enough. They just want to help.
Right.
But by helping victims of scams, we can prevent more scams from popping up. They will be more afraid of us. So by doing that alone, I'm actually putting a lot of target on my back, but I don't care because I know I'm fighting for the right cause. I actually don't want to see Indonesia missing this opportunity of the crypto wave with all the ETF happening. If people can get rich from crypto, it's gonna benefit the country as
Yeah.
a whole. That's my take on it. The only way we can monetize, once again, I will open, is by sponsorship. So we make events, we get pushed by OJK. They will sometimes help us find sponsors by them inviting a lot of powerful politicians and komisi-komisi yang emang mempunyai kepentingan in the crypto industry to help educate why you should invest and how you should not invest in cryptocurrency. So for me, it's a big CSR.
What is power to you?
I think power, for me, the definition of power is basically freedom. It's more of the same as freedom, where if you have power, no one has power over you. By definition, you should have the freedom to do whatever you want, whenever you want, and how you want it. But also keeping the definition an open book, where if power falls into the wrong hands, people has the ability to do whatever, whenever, and damage other people, to scam, to get out of sticky situations where they scam people. The most important part about power is be careful who you're helping to get in power as opposed to getting power yourself. Because if you help the wrong people get into power, you're partly responsible for what they do with other people in the future. So that's why I'm very, very skeptical about who I associate myself with. It's very, very difficult to see from first glance you get how people's gonna operate in the future, because once you give them the freedom and knowing that they cannot be held responsible against law or any punishment that may befall them, they might show you their true colors, and you might get fooled once or
Yeah.
twice.
Do you think the Indonesian government is doing a good job in regulating crypto?
Yes, yes. They are more scared of it, scared of taking the wrong step, than they are trying to simplify cryptocurrency. Because I say this with the utmost respect, I spent some time educating government officials about crypto, and they are very wary to jump into conclusions, with which I really appreciate. They are more leaning towards asking the same questions and making me explain crypto in a lot of different ways. If you start jumping into conclusions, you might jump into conclusions and regulating as well. For example, one of the regulations that I think is premature, this is not a critic to the government, but it's just a personal opinion as an investor in Indonesian stock market. FCA regulation, I think, is premature. You are The government as a whole did not think this through quite well, because there's a lot of backlash, and from what I heard, there's a lot of changes to the regulation that you just established is gonna get changed. So if you establish a regulation, you should not change it so fast. At least for 1 or 2 years for the market to get adapted to it. But if you establish something and then you decide to change it 6 months later, I would argue that that is premature. You didn't think of the implications that thoroughly. But hey, I am just um, a very I'm not a mature market participant. I've only been in financial markets for around 10 years. One might say I'm an amateur. I myself consider myself still a beginner to intermediate. But I think from a regulations perspective, the more you change regulations, the more volatility it's gonna cause, and the less confidence that investors from uh, foreign investors are gonna have in Indonesian regulation, which cause less confidence in the future. It's not such a good look. And we are approaching the golden years of Indonesia. I actually do believe that, because we see a lot of first world country struggling with reproduction. So in order for economy to grow, you have to grow population with it. US is declining in global birth in their birth rate. So the healthy birth rate is above 2.1. So every couple needs to have around 3 kids, more than 2 kids, for it to keep growing, for the population to keep growing. But like Japan and America, it's declining, while Indonesia is one of the few that's increasing. And we are seeing in the next 5 to 10 years, we are going into the productive age, which is around 20 to 30, if we are not educating our youth well. Our labor workforce is not going to be productive, and there's going to be a spike in unemployment, which is very dangerous because unemployment ultimately leads to crime. But if we can utilize this and know how to foster our youth, I am actually trying to do my part with my trading group. I'm trying to make people have multiple sources of income without them having to develop any commitments 9 to 5 working for someone else. If you have the ability to continually extract opportunities from the market, you are ultimately bringing money to Indonesia. I'm looking at it at such a big lens where I want everyone in Indonesia to prosper. Because once everyone prosper, I have multiple businesses as well. As the saying goes, a rising tide floats all boats. I really want everyone to be successful. Anyone who has a zero sum game mindset, taking money from people, I am your opposition in that camp. I'm saying this to everyone who watch this now. If you are of that camp, I would not like to get associated with you because you're essentially trying to extract money from other Indonesians, other people, while you should try to develop Indonesians into productive money making individuals. I'm just playing a very small part. And to get back to your point, to your question, there's enough pie in crypto in investing for everyone to prosper. There's enough opportunity. You don't need to snipe people to get money from other people to make yourself rich.
Indonesia has a goal of becoming around the fourth or the fifth largest economies by 2045.
Mhm.
What are the scenarios or what are the cases that you believe need to happen for that to be a reality?
Quality of education needs to increase. We need to be able to compete in terms of the level of our labor. We need Indonesians to be smarter to be able to do more difficult jobs. Approaching this age of AI, let's move on to AI for a second. I think the age of AI will produce some of the most productive workforces if you know how to utilize multiple sources of AI. Let's say Gemini, for example. A lot of people start a copywriting business because they can utilize Gemini to develop drafts for them. It's one of the few examples where I think Indonesians should be able to do, but I have yet to meet people who utilize AI the way American companies have tried to utilize AI. That's one of the few examples that I really want Indonesians to be able to actually seek knowledge. How can you be more productive in whatever field you're in by utilizing the newest technology, the newest um, business models, the newest industries like crypto? How can you do arbitrage? How can you do staking in certain tokens to generate value for yourself, for your family, for anyone around you, to be someone who's more productive? But it all starts back again. I keep finding myself to the root of the education. to actually be versed in English, because in order for you to tap into that sources of knowledge, you have to reach a bare minimum of English speaking or English reading skill, right? Like, how can you digest news sources outside without learning English? Even though now you can actually translate, but translations, even with AI, is still kadang-kadang a bit off, yeah. It's not as accurate as if you understand English.
No precision.
Yes. That's why in my trading group, I also try to speak 70% in English, because that's the language that you need to understand in order to do investing well. And you need to listen to other industry players who is well versed in investing in English,
Yeah.
as opposed to sticking to what Indonesians are saying.
The language of business, right?
Yeah,
You like poker.
I do.
What has poker taught you about life and about business?
Number one, what poker and sports have taught me. So, aside from poker, I'm also trying to become an amateur boxer. Like you have seen me yesterday when I was training.
Doesn't look like an amateur.
Not yet. Not yet. I'm still a beginner. But I'm trying to be, that's the sport I'm choosing to put myself into, because in the sport of boxing and poker, even though they are very different sports, I find one thread that connects them together, which is patience. In poker, if you're running cold, meaning you're not getting a good hand, a non-playable hand in your play style, you need to just keep tossing cards. You just need to wait for the perfect opportunity for you to participate in the hand. For example, if you are such a textbook player that you play uh, pockets and suited cards above 10 jack, and those kinds of cards, you need to have the patience to not take risk with marginally good cards unless you know how to play them. It's the same as with trading as well. If you're not good in this environment, it's like playing a 6-7 suited. If you don't know how to play those cards, just toss them out and wait for the opportunity to come to you. Even though you're bored, you have to be able to spot opportunities where the risk outweigh the rewards.
Yeah.
The same with boxing. Let's say you're in your third round, you're sparring someone, you have yet to find an opportunity to knock them out. If you start throwing haymakers in a spot where they are at advantage and they see you make a very costly mistake, a big swing, which leads to a counter, you can put yourself in a position that you otherwise wouldn't be into, because you take opportunities that are not as good for you because you're impatient. I think patience is the number one virtue that I'm trying to develop by doing trading, business, and life. Patience also has the other side of it, where if a trade meets all your requirements A, B, C, D, E, but it does not pan out the way that it's supposed to be, you have to have the patience to keep sticking to your strategy, as opposed to giving up just because there's fails in those trades. Just because the chances of success is high, it's never 100%. If someone tells you that this is gonna work out 100%, it's either one, they're insider trading, or two, they're actually scamming you. I don't believe in 100% probabilities. Yeah.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Anthony, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dan.
That's the end of the podcast.
Closing notes: please do not invest with money you cannot afford to lose, because it's gonna put you in a mindset where you cannot afford to be patient.